From the beautiful Roy Acuff Theater in Opryland, USA, welcome to the reunion of the Cathedral Quartet.
Oh, come on with me and go to that land where milk and honey flow so free. God has prepared that city with his own hand. And there's
Joining the Cathedrals tonight are Bobby Clark, Haskell Cooley, Mac Taunton, George Amon Webster, Roy Trimble, Kirk Talley, Mark Trammell, Danny Thunderbird, and Gerald Wolfe. Get ready for the most memorable evening in gospel music, the reunion of the Cathedral Quartet.
And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would love for you to welcome to the stage America's favorite tenor singer in gospel music, Mr. Ernie Haas. And ladies and gentlemen, the finest baritone and your favorite in gospel music, Mr. Scott Fowler. And Mr. Piano, the greatest pianist in gospel music and one of your favorites, Mr. Roger Bennett. And ladies and gentlemen, for 30 years, these two gentlemen have sang gospel music together. Make them welcome Mr. Glenn Payne, celebrating 50 years in gospel music, and Mr. George Yance, greatest bass singer in gospel music. Ladies and gentlemen, the reunion of the Cathedral Quartet.
is that wedding music I hear. The bride's adorned and ready
Bless your heart. What a wonderful, wonderful day this has been for Glenn and I. And we'll be doing more and tell you more about it as we go along. But thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. You have made this a special night for us, and we're going to do our best to make it a special night for you. And Glenn and I, we're glad to... Glenn, are you glad to see the old man tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Glenn just had a birthday a few days ago. We all got to go to Glenn's birthday party. You talk about candles. I've never seen him. He tried to blow them out, but the heat kept driving him back, you know. Glenn, this past January the 18th, Wednesday a week ago, I guess it was, Glenn Payne celebrated 51 years in full-time gospel singing. On the way down here last night, Ernie and Scott was teasing Glenn. They was giving him words to spell that they're not spelled like they sound like they are. And Glenn didn't get one of them right. He missed every word they get. Right before Ernie went to bed, Ernie said, "Okay, Glenn," said, "how do you spell Mississippi?" And Glenn said, "You ain't gonna fool me on that." And said, "You talking about the river or the state?" We just did a new album. Scott, take your bass off. Are you glad to see Scott Fowler, our baritone singer?
Yeah, the song that I sang called No Never Again, it's a neat song. It's real unique to me in that and all the religions and all the philosophies of the world that there are have been down through all the ages. There's absolutely no one else that can say what we can say about our Savior, about our God that we worship. There's no one else that can do that. Ours is the only one that was ever born of a virgin and died and was resurrected, and proof thereof. And so that's basically what this song just talks about, that no one has ever died, no one has ever been, no one was ever born like our Savior. And that's what makes him unique, that's what makes him special, and that's what makes him the one and only true God.
Born in a humble stable where no king should ever be, a little baby lying in a manger bed, how could he be royalty? No one had ever been born that way, no one ever will again. That little baby boy was a great I am, and he was born to save the world from sin. Never before, and never again. He was born in due season, died for all men. That tomb is still empty where Jesus is been. No, never before and never again. Well, he died on the cross at a tender age for crimes he had not done, and the crowd looking on didn't recognize God's only begotten Son. No one had ever died just that way, no one ever will again. Jesus rose from the dead and is living today, triumphant over Satan and sin. Never before, and never again. He was born in due season,
hard, he woke up. What I was going to say, we started out with this young man. There's been a lot of people. He was the original tenor singer with the Cathedrals. A lot of people have tried to imitate this young man. Nobody has ever been able to copy Bobby Clark is one of the greatest tenor singers to ever come along. Would you welcome Bobby Clark to the Cathedral? Booger Red. We're glad Bobby's here. And the original piano player and baritone for the Cathedral Quartet, Danny Coker, could not come, and he sends his regrets. But Danny just couldn't come to make it this. But when you're looking for a baritone singer to put the baritone part in, ladies and gentlemen, they're just, you wouldn't look nowhere else but here. Would you welcome to the stage Mr. Mark Trammell? That's right, you ain't gonna look nowhere else but nowhere else. Now, and today when we got here, Mark had never sung these songs. And me and Bobby and Glenn have been 30 years since we had been singing these songs.
That's right.
But I want you to listen. We rehearsed this with Mark, and this is his signature song. Listen as Bobby Clark sings Hide Thou.
Then I cried to the rock of ages, hide thou me. Sometimes I feel discouraged, and I think my life's so in vain. Oh, I'm tempted to murmur, to grumble, and complain. But when I think of my Jesus and what He's done for me, then I cry to the rock of ages, hide thou me. Sweet refuge, through this old world, I wander, oh, so far from thee, and I cry to the rock of ages, hide thou me.
Little red. Well, glory. I'll tell you what, you can't imagine what a thrill this is. Bobby, you're just incredible.
I've sung with a lot of singers, gospel singers, opera singers, down through my career. And the greatest court I've sung with Smitty Gatlin in the Oak Ridge, Dale Shalnut, the Dixie Echoes, other lead singers, other bass singers. But from my heart, these are the greatest singers I've ever sung with.
Bless your heart, Bobby. Bless your heart, Bobby. Thank you, man. You want to do that I Want to Walk?
We'll do it.
You know what, Bobby mentioned one today that we hadn't done in years, Glenn. An old Albert E. Brumley song. Let's do this. I want to walk as close as I possibly can. I may run somewhere instead of walking.
I want to walk as close as I possibly can, possibly can, for the truth and the right. Precious Lord, I stood. Have these hands done as much as they really, really could? Have these old knees bowed down as oft as they should? I want to walk as close as I possibly can, possibly can. Lord, I want to walk just as close as I can and do my best, oh, my fellow man. And if I fail, let me feel just one touch of his hand. I want to walk as close as I possibly can. One more time. Possibly can. Oh Lord, I want to walk just as close as I possibly can. If I fail, let me feel just one touch of his hand. I want to walk as close as I possibly can. Possibly.
Success is great, but you get to thinking you're doing it, that's a very bad mistake, because every step we take, every breath of air we breathe belongs to the Lord Jesus Christ.
And we never sat down when we started out. No. Glenn and I never sat down when we started out and said, if we do this, then we get to this point in our life, then we'll do this to this point in our life, then we'll do this point in our life. When we started out, we were doing what we believed God called us to do, and you know what? Today, we're still doing what we believe God called us to do. It's not that we set ourselves goals and finally reach them. Whatever's happened to us, it's because of Him.
Glory.
God sent Glenn and I two young men many years ago that absolutely both of these men stole our hearts. And when they walk away from you, they may leave in presence. But these two men, when they walk away, they keep a piece of your heart with them, and they have Glenn and I. This next tenor singer, one of the greatest songwriters to come along in gospel music, we have recorded many of his songs like Sunshine and Roses, Even Winds Whisper His Name. A great songwriter, but one of the finest gentlemen and one of the finest tenor singers to ever grace the gospel music stage. Would you welcome Mr. Mac Taunton, ladies and gentlemen? And along with him, another young man who came with us, and I said I was acted like I was introducing both of them at the same time. Well, I meant the same words for both of them. They've been incredible, incredible friends, great talents, and God has blessed us with their friendship. Here's a man that if you don't love him, you will before this night's over, Mr. George Amon Webster. Sit down there. I have no idea what we'll do. You know what? We used to open with one. My old Mackie's over there crying like.
It's tough when you squall when you're old, you know. Van, you're pretty, darling. That's my wife. He's talking about. I know who she is.
Yeah, you even recognize her every once in a while, don't you? Bless his heart, he knew who she was tonight, you know. Most nights he'd go around saying, where's my wife? We used to open with a song. I don't know if we can do this or not.
What are you talking about?
We used to open with a song called The Unclouded Day.
Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an unclouded sky. Oh, they tell me of a home when the storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day. Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an unclouded sky. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day.
Now take your time, son.
And they say, I got it, that he smiles on his children there. Thanks, ain't that great? And his smile drives their sorrow I'd like to apply for a tenor job, y'all. And they say that no tear eats your heart out, Bobby, ever dims the eye.
Listen now.
And that lovely land of an unclouded day.
Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an unclouded sky. Oh, they tell me of a home when the storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day.
I tell you, a little gray on the roof don't mean there ain't no fire in the furnace.
I can believe that. You know what? You wrote a song called Sunshine and Roses. Could we, this is one of the most unique, why nobody ever picked this up and started, I'll never know. But we want to do this for the soundtrack. We had some girls up in Cincinnati, Ohio who come in and did some background singing for us. And
He's a whole lot better looking than we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, most everybody is, you know. Talking about his wife, Glenn's wife walked in the house the other night and she said, honey, I think there's water in the carburetor. And Glenn said, water in the carburetor? Said, you don't know the carburetor from the steering wheel. So where's the car? She said, in the swimming pool. So there's no telling where we'll wind up on this song, but here is a classic called Sunshine and Roses, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hurt yourself.
I used to sing a sad song filled with gray skies and rain. I used to sing of no future, sad days with only pain. Now as I look back upon them, seems to me that I find they were days in the valley. Now I've left them all behind. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a for now and then. Cool streams, warm breezes, since Jesus took my hand. Green meadows and laughter, hope within a crumbling time. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a thorn now and then. I never miss the old days, yet think back from time to time to those days of no purpose, when my life had little rhyme. Though the waters drunk be bitter, they much sweeter make the taste of one drop of God's blessing given by His grace. And now it's sunshine and roses, only a for now and then. Cool streams, warm breezes, since Jesus took my hand. Green meadows and laughter, hope within a crumbling time. And now it's sunshine and roses, I like that.
What a wonderful, unique song. Let me do, we talked over one other thing that we might do. Somewhere in our program back in those days, we was doing an old song called The Rainbow of Love. Now, we couldn't figure out which key to do it in today.
It don't make no difference.
Just pick one. It ain't no telling what might happen. But you gonna you know what? Let me do this. One of the neatest young men who ever played for the Cathedral is Haskell Cooley. Would you welcome him on stage? I'll introduce Haskell a little bit more properly a moment ago because he's coming up with the next quartet. But here is a little man, but he's a giant. What song was we going to sing? Did we figure out a key to do it in?
It don't make no difference. Put it in B and we'll be flatted.
Since his wife is sitting down here, it always reminds me every time she. The other night she was making a cake, and she ran out of milk, and she late at night. There's an all-night store open down there, and she said, "Honey, run and get me a quart of milk," and it stays open all night. And it's late. Glenn off the cats took off, didn't take his billfold, no identification. On the way back, he was having a routine traffic check, just checking license. And Glenn didn't have his billfold with him, no driver's license. The patrolman talked to him a while, and finally the patrolman said, "Sir, do you have any ID?" And Glenn said, "About what?" I love old people, doesn't it? Here's an old song called The Rainbow of Love.
Shining every day, all along the way. There's a rainbow, there's a rainbow of perfect love on the land and sea. Shines for you and me. There's a rainbow, there's a rainbow of perfect love. There's a rainbow shining, rainbow of love with golden lining. Pointing to, it's always pointing heaven above, to heaven above, shining through the clouds that gather, every cloud, it's stormy weather. There's a rainbow, there's a rainbow of perfect love. When we cross the tide on the other side, there's a rainbow of perfect love, shining on and on, round the great white throne. There's a rainbow of love. There's a rainbow shining, rainbow of love with golden light pointing to, it's always pointing heaven above, to heaven above, shining through the clouds that gather.
We've stood around and cried and hugged and laughed with George and Glenn and Bobby and George and I. We're honored. We're so honored to be here today to pay respect and honor to them. But Van Lua Payne and Clara Yance, the wives of Glenn and George respectively, I think if anybody deserves an extra star in the crown, it will be those two ladies.
Search me, O God, and know my heart today.
you enjoy Mac Taunton tonight, ladies and gentlemen. With the same group, there wasn't a whole lot of change for the next group, but there was a young man. We actually hired him to sing baritone, and he did. He joined us, sang baritone for a while, and then we needed a tenor singer. And while we were looking for a tenor singer, one day we were rehearsing, and we found out this baritone singer was a tenor singer. And a good one. And he's a good baritone singer. But this young man, what a range he had. And an incredible voice. And we want you to welcome one of the finest singers gospel music has ever known, Mr. Roy Trimble. Baby Roy. And when we got here today, we said, Roy, we're glad you came to sing with us. And we are, Roy. And Roy said, I come to sing tonight, but I will not sing unless you sing this song. I had no idea what he was going to ask. And he scared me to death when we asked for this song, because Roy...
You wrote it, George.
But we hadn't sung it in that many years.
I know, but we're fixing to.
I love it.
A few years ago, when George Amon came with us, I hadn't finished the song yet, was it, George?
When I came to the Cathedral, George, you had it in your little portfolio that you kept writing all your lyric in, and you were sharing it with Vic and myself. And it wouldn't. I never heard such a beautiful melody as you had put to that song. And about a week or so later, we finished it and sung it, and it's been a blessing to me ever since.
Listen, it was we do yesterday.
Yesterday things were different. Today they're different again. Jesus will never change. Jesus is always the same. The sparrow will find a new dwelling. The eagle will change his nest, but I'm holding on to the chains last
Beautiful song, guys. Thanks, Amy. Thank you, buddy.
I've been singing gospel music, and I've gotten a long ways from the Lord. I was up there just going through the motions, singing songs, and they sang at the downtown auditorium on a Saturday night. They was going to be in a local church on the Sunday morning the next day. Well, I went to hear them, and when I went to hear them that Sunday morning at church, I had a hangover, and I was singing gospel music. I remember George giving his testimony that morning about being an alcoholic, how God had delivered him. And I went to the altar that morning, gave my heart back to the Lord. And when Glenn called me, you talk about a dream come true, and it was just, I never dreamed that Sunday morning that it wouldn't be that long, Glenn would be calling me and asked me to sing in the Cathedral Quartet. And they've just been a real blessing in my life.
I don't know, I'm sure you can tell how high the emotions are running tonight. These are not just people who came and sang with us. These are men that we love, and they're like our own kids. And it's an overwhelming night. He came up here a moment ago, but to play the piano. But he played the piano for the Cathedral Quartet for 5 years. And you know what? I've been out here a long time, met a lot of people. This man here is one of the most solid Christian people I've ever met in all my life. Would you welcome him again, Haskell Cooley? And Haskell Cooley, now today we rehearsed this song, but it'll tell you what might happen. Haskell Cooley wrote this song. When did you write this song? About 19 years ago. It's been about that long since we sung it. I'm going to shout all over heaven.
When I get excited and my heart's delighted and the Spirit comes over me, I know there is no doubt you're gonna hear me shout. I'm feeling the victory. And if it bothers you that what I say is true, you better cast your whole lights for heaven, 'cause I'll be there, shouting everywhere my sins have been forgiven. I'm gonna shout, shout, shout all over heaven, what a day that's gonna be. I'm gonna sing, I'll sing the bass. We'll sing the harmony. I'll dance right down the streets of gold on Glory Avenue. I'll clap my hands and praise the Lord and shout all over heaven. When I hear the word and my heart is stirred, a tear of joy comes to my eye. It doesn't bother me if the tears you see are happy man am I. I know the Lord above is looking down with love. He's watching everything I do. And some sweet day I'll be shouting all the way while sailing through the blue. I'm gonna shout, shout, shout all over heaven, what a day that's gonna be. I'm gonna sing, I'll sing the bass. We'll sing the harmony. I'll dance right down the streets of gold on Glory Avenue. I'll clap my hands and praise the Lord and shout all over heaven. I'm gonna shout, shout, shout all over heaven, what a day that's gonna be. I'm gonna sing, I'll sing the bass. We'll sing the harmony. I'll dance right down the streets of gold on Glory Avenue. I'll clap my hands and praise the Lord and shout, 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 shout over heaven. Shout, 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 shout over heaven.
Good song, Haskell. That's a good song, Hack.
I'll never forget one thing that George said one time. He said, the Lord hasn't called us to sing before a lot of people. He called us to sing, period.
City Auditorium in El Dorado. And we'd been on the road a long time, and you know, the roughest part of our career, if you want to call it, is being away from home and away from the family. But I remember backstage at that auditorium one night in a rehearsal room backstage. I wrote a song back there. I'd been away from home. I was homesick. I was lonesome. All my son and my daughter are in sports programs, and I was missing all that. And I was feeling sorry for myself, you know, away from home and all these times. And God gave me a song that night, and backstage in less than 5 minutes, I wrote a song called He Loves Me. And that night, I was just thinking of all the things. Why did God love me? Why did he die for me? Why God? And the song came to me. The only reason I could think of was, He loves me.
When I'm sad, he loves me. And even grudge, even when I'm bad, he loves. He just loves me. When it seems no one cares, no one cares for me, I just talk to Jesus. He really loves me. He loves me. He loves me. Jesus loves me. He loves me. He loves me. Jesus
George Amon, Roy Haskell. Great song, Amon.
Bless your heart. It's just incredible to have to quit with one group and call somebody else up. It's just hard to see the guys go. But a few years after that group was this next group, and well, what a joy these years was for Glenn and I with this particular gentleman. And let me say this: Glenn and I didn't say after one member left, we didn't say we had our eye on somebody else. When one member left, we always said, well, we'll just wait and see who the Lord sends. And we'd get some telephone calls from different people, and all of a sudden, It seems like when the telephone call came from the right person, or God sent the right person, it seemed like we knew it. And we knew it when the Lord sent this young man. Would you welcome to the stage one of the greatest tenor singers that's ever walked, Mr. Danny Thunderberg, ladies and gentlemen. Bless your heart. Danny is incredible. And about that same time, Roger has actually been with the Cathedral Quartet, but he left for a couple of years, and when he left for a couple of years, God sent us this young man. Now, you talk about dynamite. You talk about somebody. There's never been, I don't think, a young man coming on gospel music in the short time that he's been out here and made the name that he has for himself, that he's been out here. Would you welcome the little giant Gerald Wolf here? And of course, he's been out here with several groups, but I say this, and I'm not saying anything about anybody else, but ladies and gentlemen, the very best quartet man. I'm not saying anything about quartet men. It don't mean you're singing. It don't mean anything that you're better than this or somebody else. The best quartet man I've ever worked with in all my 49 years, Mr. Mark Trammell. Here's one we hadn't done in a while. When Gerald came with us, Gary McSpadden and Bill Gaither produced this album for us, and Gary McSpadden brought this song to us, The Plan of Salvation.
I want to thank for the plan of salvation, just to say, Lord, I love you, for you understand. I want to be there on that great judgment to touch one veiled breast in his feet and his hand. One morning at daybreak, a crowd slowly gathered. They were walking, my Lord, up Robbie, old Calvary's hill. Listen to this. So sad was the scene there that the birds hushed their singing. Like a lamb he was humbled to his Father's own will. I want to thank Jesus. We thank you, Lord, for the plan of salvation, just to say, Lord, I love you, for you understand. I want to be there on that great judgment morning, to touch all the veiled prince in his feet and his hand. I want to thank Jesus for the plan of salvation, for the plan of salvation. Just to say, Lord, I love you. Just to say, Lord, I love you. For you understand. To touch all the nail prints in his feet and his
doing all those things that Baptist preachers' kids do and knowing how to do all of those things and being religious. And that was one of the biggest things that I was religious. And July the 13th, 1988, Danny and I were on a golf course. He was in a foursome behind me, he and Glenn. And I had been fighting with myself. Gerald was with us at that time. He knew. In fact, I'd been asking him to help me pray about things in my life. And I was struggling with myself. I didn't know what was going on in my life. And that day on that golf course in Oklahoma City, I realized that what I had was a big dose of religion, but I didn't have Jesus.
Third tee box.
The third tee box of the Willow Creek Country Club. And I got on my face before the Lord right there. And Tom Elliff, pastor of First Southern Baptist Church in Del City, led me to the Lord that day. And that's something that I won't forget as long as I live. And it was things like George and Glenn living the life in front of us. Not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. And at night when I'd go to bed, I would be at peace with myself in knowing that I was working with men that love the Lord. I'd get up in the morning and I'd see, early in the morning before daylight, and I'd see a light on, and I'd look up, and Gerald would be in his bunk reading his Bible at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. If he woke up, that's what he'd do. So I was around consistent people, godly people.
As a child, I foolishly turned God away, not knowing the heartache a sinner must face. But God in His goodness has let me return to share with His children this lesson I've learned. Sin will take you farther than you want to go. Slowly but wholly, taking control. Sin will leave you longer than you want to stay. Sin will cost you far more than you want to pay. So with pleasure and promises, sin took control, leaving me dying with nothing to show. Gone were my loved ones and my dearest friends. Only a Savior could love me again. Sin will take you farther than you want to go. Slowly but wholly, taking control. Sin will leave you longer than you want to stay. Sin will cost you far more and grow. Sin will leave you longer than you wanna stay. Sin will cost you far more than you wanna pay. Oh, sin will cost you far more than you wanna pay. Mr. Mark
I'll never forget, Danny, let me just touch you. I'll never forget the first time I heard this young man sing this next song. I had myself a running spell. Listen as Danny sings, I just started living.
I just started living. I found me a brand new life.
He changed my direction.
Changed my direction.
Now he's washed away
all of my strife.
I'm a newborn believer.
I'm a newborn believer.
It's a holy infilling.
It's a holy infilling. The Lord's are getting lighter. My days are getting brighter. I just started living.
If I had hope only in this world below, I'd be covered with troubles. There'd be no place to go. When I met Jesus, then started believing, I got filled with His love, been washed in His blood. I just started living. Oh,
I just started living.
yes,
I found me a brand new life.
changed my direction.
Changed my direction.
Now He's washed away.
Washed away, washed away, washed
Oh,
away.
I'm a newborn believer.
I'm a newborn believer.
It's a holy infilling.
It's a holy infilling. The Lord's are getting lighter. The days are getting brighter. I just started living.
Next time Satan tries to get you down, square your shoulders back and look him in the eyes and kind of tell him like this, okay? Don't you look at me funny, you old prophet of doom. You see, I'm not one bit discouraged, and I'm feeling over, 'cause I got the Spirit. Oh, and this totally rally. Oh, I give up on counting, have no time for doubting. I just started living.
I just started living.
Yeah,
I found me a brand new life.
changed my direction.
Changed my direction.
Now He's washed away.
Washed away, washed away, washed away.
I'm a believer.
I'm a newborn believer.
It's a holy infilling.
It's a holy infilling. My loads are getting lighter. My days are getting brighter. I just started living.
Oh, I said my
Loads are getting lighter. My days are getting brighter. I just started living. I just started living.
Danny Bundaberg.
As I remember how I used to play the game and how I used to go through the motions. And I was like Mark. I was born and raised in a Christian home. My father was an evangelist and a pastor of a church. And it is so easy to learn how to play church. And I think a lot of people go through this world day after day basically just going through the motions. And that song became my own personal testimony because I was in my backyard 2 o'clock in the morning. It seemed like my life had fallen all to pieces. The devil had destroyed me and almost separated me from my family. And there was a lot of things in my life that I was not pleased with. And I remember that moment when I really started living. And living to me is not having fine automobiles and cars and all. I thank God for my family. Most of all, I thank God for salvation. And to me, that's what living is. And that's my personal testimony.
We went to London, England. When was it, Glenn?
1987.
1987. And we recorded this song with the London Philharmonic. You know what? Danny's from North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. Scott's, what's your name?
Right here.
God love your heart. He said that you were getting like him. Now I believe it.
But his mind comes and goes, and
mine went.
And Mark, we went to London, England, and Gerald went with us. We recorded an album for the London Philharmonic Orchestra, and Gerald will remember this. While we were recording with them about 4 days over there, we'd rehearse with them, and then they'd say, "Let's break for a spot of tea." And when they'd say, "Let's break for a spot of tea," we'd open up our can of Lux pinto beans, man. We took them in. First time I heard this young man sing here, I heard him on tape before I ever saw him. And I said, "Man, what a voice. What a voice." And he was with the Dumpling Valley Boys. Well, Glenn and I got in touch with him, and we hired him. Well, my daughter's sitting down here on the front row, Dana and Tara and Gina. When we hired him, Dana was living in Marietta, Georgia. And so I told Clara, I said, we hired Gerald Wolfe with the Dumpling Valley Boys. And Dana called home to talk to Mom, Clara, to see who we'd hired. And she said, "Who did they hire?" And Clara said, "I don't know, somebody from the Apple Dumpling Gang." That's exactly what she said. And Dana said, "Mom, Apple Dumpling Gang." I guess one of the most powerful songs I've ever sung with anybody is this next song we're going to do. It may sound like, and I've introduced this song like this for a lot of years, but I did because it might sound like we were singing about some kind of boxer or some kind of fighter. One of the greatest voices to ever come along in the gospel music field is this young man right here. And it starts out by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? I'd like to introduce to you in this corner, robed in white, stands a champion. And he is the all-time undisputed, undefeated champion of love."
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? I want to introduce to you in this corner of the good and the right stands a champion robed in white. His height exceeds the heavens, his weight outweighs the world, his reach reaches everywhere, his age is evermore. He is higher than the highest, greater than the great. No one will ever take his crown away. He's more mighty than the mightiest. He reigns from above. to enter this arena to raise his hands in victory for all of you and me, but an angry crowd crucified this king who wore their crown, and they gladly watched the champion going down. Here's the best part. I will never count him out, for I'm a witness of the day he arose to retain the title champion of love. And he is higher than the highest, greater than the great. No one will ever take his crown away. He's more mighty than the mightiest. He reigns from above. He is higher than the highest, greater than the great. No one will ever take his crown away. He is more mighty than the mightiest. He reigns from above. He's the all-time undisputed, undefeated champion. The all-time undisputed, undefeated champion. The all-time undisputed, undefeated champion of Mr. Gerald Wolf. The little giant. How about it?
That song has become, I guess, the most powerful song that I've ever had the opportunity to sing. And now, that was in 1987 we did that. And now here it is, 1995, and I still sing that song almost every night. Over 1,750 times I've sung that song that I didn't want to sing because I didn't know what it meant, because I hadn't taken the time to learn it, to read it, to listen.
Well, welcome Roger Bennett back to the Cathedral Quartet.
Hey, George, just a second before you go on here. Everybody's got to say something. I just had something on my heart I've got to share. I don't know if I've told you and Glenn this or not, but all these guys, you guys were their heroes. And growing up, you were my heroes too. I remember when I grew up in a little town called Strawberry, Arkansas. And all of my friends, thank you very much, Strawberry, all of my friends, they loved sports heroes. They were into sports. The Los Angeles Lakers, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, all those guys. Not me, buddy. My heroes were George Johnson, Glenn Payne. Wanted to be y'all.
Bless your heart, buddy.
I'd set at the piano and play Cathedral Quartet tapes and play along with it and imagine myself there. I'd mow the yard and imagine the bus coming around the corner and asking me if I wanted to play with them. I've been with them now 14 years. My heroes are Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and all those guys. I just kind of felt like it's time for something a little spiritual right along in there, George. Really blessed me.
Well, I tell you what, you had me hooked there, Roger. You know what? Since we got Roger here, do that Goodbye World Goodbye for me, Roger. Play that song. with this group here that we did a song. Would you like to hear Mark Trammell do the Master Builder?
And about half of you clapping. Y'all don't want to be here or what? Come on. Do this one. There you go. How many Baptists we got here tonight? Well, that's exactly what I figured. Come on. Jesus was a carpenter a long time ago. Joseph taught him all the things he needed to know. He grew up straight and strong, working on the shores of Galilee. He learned to use a hammer and he learned to drive a nail. And when he started building, it served him mighty well. Cause he started on a building that stretched from sky to sky and sea to sea. Jesus is a master builder. He built his church upon a rock. He built it on a firm foundation, and the work will never stop. Oh, it ain't gonna stop. Jesus is a master builder. He takes the old and makes it new. He can take a life of sin, make it clean and pure again, and he can make a brand new. Once again, he's working on a city called the New Jerusalem. It sits on 12 foundations according to the master builder's plan. The streets are lined with mansions for the saints to move right in, and when he's finished building, he'll come back again to take us to that city fashioned by the master builder's hand. Jesus is a master builder. He built his church upon a rock. He built it on a firm foundation, and the work will never stop. Oh, it ain't gonna stop. Jesus is a master builder. He takes the old and makes it new. He can take a life of sin, make it clean and pure again, and he can make a brand new. Yeah, Jesus is a master builder. He built his church upon a rock. He built it on a firm foundation, and the work will never stop. Oh, never gonna stop. Jesus is a master builder. He takes the old and makes it new. He can take a life of sin, make it clean and pure again, and he can make a brand new. And he can make a brand new. Jesus is a master
Would you like to hear Danny sing Somebody Touch Me?
Many years he walked in darkness as he groped along the streets, his hand stretched out for pennies or just one bite to eat. It's the story of the blind man who met Jesus on his way. With the master's touch, the man looked up as the scoffers heard him say, somebody touched me, somebody touched me. I was blind, but praise his name, I now can see. I was in darkness when Jesus found me. The sense he touched
really wasn't going to say anything because there's been a lot of talk tonight, and it's all been great. And I said, well, no. And the devil tried to tell me, he said, you just get up there and sing. But I want to tell you something. I remember the day Jesus touched me. And I remember he changed my life completely. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, down on my knees in the backyard. The neighbors thought I had went slap crazy. As I began to shout in the Lord and what he is doing in my life. And I thank God for that this evening. I know without a doubt that Jesus has touched me. One day he touched that crippled man. He made him walk again. Never master, he saw with pleasure that he had labored not in vain. But the story of that crippled man who was bound by sin, but since my master came, oh, praise his name, thank God, I now can say, somebody touched me, somebody touched me, oh, I was blind, but praise his name, I now can see, I was in darkness, when Jesus found me, but since he touched me, I now am free. I remember when Jesus touched me. I was in darkness, but when Jesus found me, but since he touched me, God, I'm free. Thank God
Mr. Danny Thunderberg.
I think the one quality about George and Glenn, and I can sum it up real quick, is about how the Bible speaks about how we should bestow our brother higher than ourselves. They've always done that. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care the outcome. Just like we talked about earlier, if you ever left the group, it still didn't matter. They still respected you and appreciated you, and they truly live the fact that, you know, if you bestow your brother higher than yourself, that God will truly bless you.
Well, the next young man I'd like to introduce to you, I know he's been sitting here for quite a while tonight. And what do you say about this next young man? Nobody has ever come along in gospel music like him. He's an institution within himself. Would you welcome Mr. Kirk Talley?
I was thrilled with Seven in the Water. I wrote that song after hearing a preacher, Phil Hoskins, just used that phrase in a sermon that he preached at a revival that the Cathedral sang in Lenore, North Carolina. And we were sitting back in the choir, and behind Phil, we had sung and he was speaking. And he said, it's time we as Christians need to step into the water. And I don't know why that struck a bell with me, but I just knew there was a chorus there, and so I took out a pen and paper and wrote the chorus, and then put verses to it just a little later. George's part on that, in the bass part, see, coming from a background that, a non-male quartet background, I didn't hear the bass part as it did it, but when we got to record, George put the bass part on there, which really made the song. And that song was the first song that I'd ever written that ever got on a chart. And so it was kind of like, it helped establish me as a writer, I think. And it was #1 for 9 months in a row.
Step into the water, wade out a little deeper, even deeper. Wet your feet in the light, against the water of the world. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deeper.
Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of God.
It's time we the people stand up for what is right. It's time we squared our shoulders back and raise our swords to fight. For the Bible is my weapon and the Spirit is my shield. The church needs more of its members to be workers in the field.
Step into the water, wade out a little bit deep.
A little deeper.
Wet your feet in the water of His love. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deep.
A little deeper.
Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of God. To the Lamb of God. There is victory for the Christian who walks the narrow way. There has been a prize appointed for the soul who does not stray. Oh, I want to live for Jesus and be all that I should be, so that I can rest with Him forever, live eternally. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deep.
A little deeper.
Wet your feet in the water of His love. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deep.
A little deeper.
Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of God. To the Lamb of God. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deeper. Wet your feet in the water of His love. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deeper. Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of God. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deeper. Wet your feet in the water of His love. Step into the water, wade out a little bit deeper. Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of God. Come join angels singing, hear those glad bells ringing. Come join angels singing praises to the Lamb of
And Kurt Talley here absolutely made this song famous all across the country, called "Moving Up to Glory Land."
I like to think about a paradise somewhere beyond the blue. A mansion waiting in that eastern sky, maybe next door to you. We'll go parading the distant star right down the Milky Way. The planet Jupiter and Mars won't even be halfway. Moving up to glory land. Oh, it's a moving, holding to His nail scarred hand. Don't know when I'm leaving, but I'm ready to go. When I get to heaven, I'll be welcome, I know. Don't you know I'm moving up to glory land. I made my reservations long ago, the day I gave up sin. And when my mansion ready, this I know I'm gonna move right in. I have a vision of a happy place where love one's me. Right on the corner of Love Avenue and Hallelujah Street. Moving up to glory land. Oh, yes, I'm moving
But I guess in the last few years, God has really given Ben and I a calling to be cheerleaders for other singers. I like to encourage other young singers that maybe who are young and they're struggling, and I like to walk up to them, put my arm around them, and give them all the encouragement I can. You know, I'd like to be remembered as a cheerleader for the Lord Jesus Christ, because their joy in serving the Lord Jesus Christ.
I can't take a heart that's broken, make it over again. But I know a man who can. I can't take a soul that's sin sick, clean it up and wash it white, white as snow. Oh, but I know a man who can. Some call him Savior, the Redeemer of the land. I call him Jesus, for he's my dearest friend. If you think that no one loves you and your life is out of hand, I know a man who can. I can't walk upon the water, and I can't calm a raging sea. Oh, but I know a man who can, and I can't cause blinded eyes to be open, or the lame to get up and walk again. Oh, but I know a man who can. Yes, some call him Savior, the Redeemer of the land. But I can call him Jesus. He's still my closest, and he's my dearest friend. Now if you think, oh, you might think that no one loves you, sometimes your life seems out of hand. I know a man who can. Yes, I know a man.
Could you do this with me? Learning to lean, learning to lean. Sing with me. Come on down here, boys. I'm learning to lean on Jesus, finding more power than I ever dreamed. I'm learning to lean
Glenn and I have talked about our longevity, and we know we could say we did this, and we could say, but when this came along, we were able to do this. Right. But if we're honest with you and honest with ourselves, we could have never been here at this late day in our life without God's blessings. God has opened doors for us and touched us and given us the strength to do what we do, and all the praise and all the honor and all the glory belongs to Him. We're just thrilled that at this late day in our lives, He's still opening doors for us. You know?
Right. There's not a mother, sister, friend, or brother